How to fix cannot find 640x 480 video mode in GTA Vice City. Welcome back to Teknobalta. During our recent deep dive diagnostics into legacy gaming on modern operating systems, our technical team encountered the notorious missing video mode error in this classic title. Teknobalta's analysis revealed that this crash occurs because modern graphics pipelines completely drop native support for legacy DirectDraw rendering techniques utilized by older engines. We extensively tested multiple hardware configurations to bring you the definitive, guaranteed fixes for this rendering halt. Our first critical discovery involves a missing legacy component in modern Windows architectures, known as DirectPlay. We found that navigating to the Turn Windows Features on or off menu and expanding the Legacy Components folder allows you to easily enable this crucial API framework. After installing DirectPlay and initiating a system reboot, our testing showed a dramatic increase in legacy engine stability. Teknobalta's diagnostics indicate that the game engine frequently misinterprets the memory architecture of newer operating system environments. By right-clicking the primary game executable, accessing the Properties menu, and navigating to the Compatibility tab, you can fundamentally change how the system interacts with the game. Selecting Windows XP Service Pack 3 from the drop-down menu forces the operating system to emulate a legacy environment, solving immediate launch crashes. In our rigorous testing across different processor architectures, some hardware configurations failed to boot even with the standard emulation layer active. Our technical team resolved this stubborn issue by stepping the compatibility mode down to Windows XP Service Pack 2 instead. This slight adjustment in memory allocation rules completely bypassed the resolution error on older hardware endpoints. We consistently observed that modern user account control protocols block the game from accessing essential root directories needed for resolution scaling data. Ticking the Run This program as an administrator box in the compatibility settings grants the executable the elevated privileges strictly required for operation. This ensures the engine can write temporary configuration files without triggering a permission denial from the system core. During our pixel rendering analysis, we discovered that forcing the game into a lower color depth prevents the engine from crashing over modern 32-bit color palettes. Enabling the reduced color mode option and manually setting it to 16-bit directly addresses the underlying engine limitations. Our experts confirmed this method seamlessly bridges the gap between outdated rendering methods and modern display hardware. Because the crash explicitly mentions the inability to find a specific low resolution, we successfully forced the operating system to feed this exact parameter to the application. Checking the Run in 640x 480 screen resolution box in the Compatibility tab essentially creates a specialized visual sandbox environment. Teknobalta's testing proved this completely eliminates the initialization phase failure by satisfying the engine's baseline requirement. Modern monitors use advanced scaling technologies that distort the native coordinate system of legacy games, causing immediate initialization failures upon execution. By clicking Change High DPI Settings and overriding the scaling behavior to be performed exclusively by the application, we restored the native pixel grid mapping. This precise adjustment ensures the game window calculates its aspect ratio correctly without external interference. Our internal investigation revealed that a corrupted configuration file left over from a previous failed launch attempt can permanently lock the game into a persistent crash loop. Navigating to the User Documents folder and permanently deleting the specific configuration file forces the game engine to rebuild its graphics parameters from scratch. We verified that the subsequent launch generates fresh, error-free default settings that bypass the crash. Windows attempts to layer modern full-screen overlays onto older games, which we found directly intercepts and breaks the legacy rendering hooks. Checking the Disable Fullscreen Optimizations box prevents the operating system from injecting these modern graphical overlays into the classic engine. This isolating technique dramatically improves frame pacing and consistently eliminates the resolution detection error during boot. Teknobalta's technical team highly recommends utilizing community-developed engine overhauls like the renowned SilentPatch to fix deep-seated source code flaws. Dropping the patched executable and its associated files into the root directory fundamentally rewrites how the game handles modern frame rate limits and resolution querying. Our benchmarking tests demonstrated a flawless boot sequence across all tested hardware after applying this critical structural patch. Since the game relies heavily on an outdated rendering implementation, wrapping those calls into modern commands is a highly effective mitigation strategy. We place the appropriate wrapper dynamically linked library file into the game directory, which automatically translates legacy rendering calls into a language modern graphics cards natively understand. Our analysis confirmed this translation process eliminates all resolution-based crashes instantly. Legacy engines simply cannot mathematically comprehend modern ultra-wide or high-definition aspect ratios without external code modification. Installing a dedicated widescreen fix injection applies custom parameters that force the game to accept native monitor resolutions natively. We rigorously tested this injection method and confirmed it completely nullifies the original low-resolution requirement built into the source code. We discovered that passing specific command line arguments directly to the executable can override internal engine configurations before the boot sequence even initializes. By creating a shortcut and adding explicit resolution flags to the target line, you instruct the engine to launch into a predefined visual state. This methodology completely circumvents the flawed auto-detection sequence that initially triggers the fatal error. Modern laptops and desktop systems featuring integrated graphics often route legacy games to the weaker processor chip, heavily confusing the resolution capabilities. By utilizing the Windows Graphics Settings menu,